Hello pre-calculus class. For today's classwork, we will be working on section 7.7. This classwork hopefully will help you with your homework questions. All right, please open up to page 568, and let's start with number 8. The direction reads, graph each pair of parametric equations excuse me, in the rectangular coordinate system. Right? We have two parametric equations, the parameter being t. Then it reads, determine the domain, the set of x-coordinates, and the range, the set of y-coordinates. So there are two parts to this. Just like in example 1, we are going to use a table of values, t being our parameter, which will define x and y for us. Because t is defined from negative infinity to infinity, I'm going to take some negative values as well as some positive values. All right, let's find x. X is t minus 3. So negative 3 minus 3 is going to be negative 6, and so forth. 3 minus 3 is 0, so I know I've been doing it correctly. Y is 1 divided by t, so negative 1 over 3, negative 1 over 2, negative 1. Here we have 1 over 0, which is undefined. That means we have a point negative 3 comma undefined, which is not a point at all. So we are going to be missing this point. And on our graph, we will find that it creates a vertical asymptote. Let's continue. 1 over 1, 1 over 2, and 1 over 3. Let's graph this out. Bear with me here. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Okay. Here we have negative 6 comma negative 1 over 3, which is roughly here. Then negative 5 comma a half, negative 4 comma negative 1. At negative 3, we have a vertical asymptote. Negative 2 comma 1, negative 1 comma a half, 0 comma 1/3. Now what is this looking like? Let's plug in some more values to find the pattern we can graph. So if I take an extremely negative t, let's say negative 100, I get x is negative 1 over 3. And then my y is 1 over negative 100, which is negative 0.01. So we get a point very far to the left that's very close to, but not quite on the y-axis. And, x-axis. And at this point, we'll notice that there is no value for t that'll make y equal 0. It's impossible. So we know we're going to also get a horizontal asymptote, since we know that a y value of 0 is impossible given this equation, since no value of t would give me 0. For that to happen, the numerator has to be 0, but the numerator is 1, so it's going to be impossible. Now, how about behavior in this section? Well, let's take, let's just keep it in blue. Let's take negative 0.5 for t, which will give us negative 3.5. What about the y value? Well, that'll be 1 over 0.5, or 1 over 1/2, or 1 over negative 1/2, sorry. So I get negative 2. So I get a dot roughly here. And so now we can see a very clear pattern. And it seems like this is going to be a graph of a rational function. This seems to make sense because we have a rational function right here. Okay, the second part is to define the domain, the set of x-coordinates. The domain here is going to be every value for x is defined except at negative 3. For my range, every value of y is defined except at 0. Alright, and we're done.